Hey, what's up, everyone? Just a quick video announcing. Uh, I'll probably be doing a video later today. I'll let people know for sure. But unless anything crazy goes on in my life, it'll be like 2:30. Plan on me to do a video live stream at 2:30 this evening, unless something crazy happens. So. The other thing is my internet's been really crazy, and my connection to YouTube, for whatever reason, I tried to do a couple of these spots and it just wasn't letting it happen. So this might fall out. You know how these, for those of you who don't know, these roadside chats, it's just when I get an odd time here. I've been incredibly busy with work, which I'm fortunate, I'm not complaining about, but I do home health care, so it's been really crazy busy. And so I do apologize. I haven't put out the material that, on a normal time I would. But I think people understand. It's a crazy time for everyone. So some of the just little things that I want to hit on more when I do my next live stream. Again, hopefully it'll be at 2:30 today p.m. I think more people are waking up to what I've been saying all along. Again, my claim all along is that we should have demanded answers to simple questions before we demanded the tanking of the economy and the restricting of our rights. I was correct about that in all aspects. I still believe we now see the restricting of rights. I've seen stories such as a man playing wiffle ball with his daughter in a park alone was arrested. Drones are being sent out. Google's now feeding information to the government about people's whereabouts. There's talk of basically giving people chips or passports that shows that they're healthy or that they're infected. There's been, a surfer that was by himself on the ocean, a wakeboarder that was arrested. I was told by people, and again, remember, it seems as if I'm directing a lot of this anger towards conservatives or Trump-type people, but that's because I know the people on the left, they're all big Bernie people or big Biden people, and they want big government. They appreciate the idea of the government controlling our lives. It was the people on the right that supposedly were fighting against it, and until we win those people back, we're fighting an uphill battle that just won't be able to be climbed. And so, I had people on the right. I had Trump supporters. I had, fiscal or constitutional conservatives that don't like Trump. All of them were telling me, no, we can't question. No rights are being taken. No rights are, what, your right not to go to the buffet? Because I'm a fat guy, so people always go there, which is fine. Those rights, there's no rights being taken. Of course there is. So we saw that. We saw that I claimed that we needed to see the models and the threshold before we accepted this action. The government should answer those questions. I told you why they didn't do that. And I'm right about that, which was the reason that they didn't want to give those models or the threshold is because they know that they're probably wrong, that they fearmonger. And the reason that they know they're wrong, look, I'm not going to say everyone in government's corrupt, but they're incompetent if they're not corrupt. But what they knew is this was a power grab. They want to destroy the middle class. Even people on the right, they want more power as well. And I'm not saying Trump intentionally went with it, but he listened to terrible advice and he encouraged his policies that he backed, along with state governors, along with people in the Republican and Democratic Party. They've taken our rights away. They've set up the precedent that people will accept it unquestioningly. They've destroyed the economy. And they didn't answer any of these basic questions to start with, and now we're starting to see every week now we got to redo our model. Remember, it was 2.2 million dead at first, and then it was 200 to 100,000. Now it's way down from that. Remember, New York City they had inmates that were digging mass graves. They didn't have enough ventilators. Cuomo was on TV saying, my God, Trump is only sending us 400 ventilators and we need 10,000. Is he going to pick the 17,000 that die? Whatever the numbers were. Now it turns out they had plenty of ventilators. They had ventilators sitting in a warehouse. Oregon, they tried to order tons and tons of ventilators. They didn't need them all. And I said the reason they won't give these numbers, like what their threshold, their model was, what their threshold for when this sort of action was taken, how many lives they felt that their policies would be able to save, is because they then would have to be held accountable if they were wrong. Real leadership is saying, I'm going to make a decision as transparently as possible, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but at least I inform the American people of why I'm doing what I'm doing. Or if you're a governor, at least I inform the people of my state. And if you're wrong, then you deal with the consequences. What we're seeing almost universally is no one want to give the exact numbers. And what did I say would happen? They'll say, oh, no matter if 2,000 people die or 2 million people die, we did it. We did the right thing. That's exactly what you see. And I see it all over message boards. I see it all over Twitter. I see it on YouTube. I see it in the media. Well, someone like me will say, well, it turns out these models were, as said, there was a danger that they were being blown out of proportion to be used to strip people of their rights. And what do the people say? Oh, no. Social distancing kept us safe. They have no proof of that. None. They're just going to say that. And then the same thing will be used for the next Patriot Act. The same thing will be used against climate change. Who's to say they don't shut down the country next year because climate change is going to kill us all by the end of the year? And then when it doesn't, they say, yes, that's because we shut down the country. And you'll say, but that's stupid. You had no proof that shutting down the country for 1 year would be able to solve all these numbers of dead you talked about. None. You didn't even remotely suggest it. That's exactly, remember, they said 0.2 million dead. Many stats show we're hitting the peak already. What are we going to look at? 50, 60,000? Maybe less than the regular flu? And that's if we believe the numbers, because there's another question. I talked to you before, we have no idea the mortality because it turns out, I was watching Tucker's Monday show, it was really good. For example, they took a place in Italy. Remember, Italy locked down quicker and more extreme than us, yet the infection seemed to be worse there. Why? There's a town in Italy where they locked everyone down. They tested people, even asymptomatic, and 70% of the town had the virus. Weren't showing any signs of it. The same could be true in the United States, which means the mortality rate's ridiculously low, which means that the way to fight it, if almost everyone was already infected or huge portions of places, because understand this, we're not staying completely at home. We're still going out grocery shopping, essential jobs like in my state, a chocolate maker is still essential, it's considered. The mulch place is still essential. So it's already got to 20, 30% of the people. There's no holding it back now. We might as well get back to work. But they refuse to look into that because they want the lockdown. This is what the globalists wanted all along. They want to destroy the economy and kill the middle class. That's what this is about. So we don't know what the mortality rate is. And to figure out the mortality rate, how many people were infected, it could be way more than we expect, which means the lockdown's worthless. And we don't even know how many people have died of the virus because, as Dr. Birx said, anyone who has symptoms of COVID that dies is considered to die of COVID. I've been saying this, not to brag, I was the first person I heard say this when looking at Italy's numbers. How can you explain that Italy had about 2,500 people a month die on average of the flu during flu season, but it's less than 60 people a month this year? What was the miracle? What cured the flu? Well, everyone who's dying of the flu is they died of COVID. So what we need to be looking at instead of how many people died of COVID, because remember, what I was told over and over, well, it's not just dying of COVID, it's dying of COVID on top of the flu. What we should look at is the total number of people dead, particularly of infectious disease. So all people that died of pneumonia or the flu or whatever infectious disease in 2019 in the United States versus all people that died of pneumonia, the flu, and COVID in 2020. Because we're already starting to see pneumonia deaths are way down. Why is that? What's the miracle? Well, the miracle is you died of pneumonia. Oh, we're just calling that COVID. So the numbers right now, it doesn't even look terrible. Don't get me wrong. Any death's tragic. I'm probably going to lose you for a minute up here. Any death's tragic. I get that. But it's not the apocalyptic scenario that we were told. And what do we see? The same doctors, they've been wrong about the models over and over. And remember, they weren't just wrong about the models initially. They're also wrong about the models after the social distancing policies came out. They said, oh, here's our new models. Those models were gravely overestimated. So even after the social distancing was put in place, we were still being fear-mongered with worse than things actually were. So if they're wrong over and over, why are we still taking advice from them? And what do they suggest? Well, Dr. Fauci says until not one new case occurs, we're going to have social distancing measures of some sort. Or how about we had this guy, it was all over the place, I can't remember his name, Page, I believe is his last name, from the World Health Organization. He's saying we're going to have to go into families and take family members away from each other because of COVID. We have Joe Biden's chief advisor saying the economy's going to have to be shut down from 12 to 18 months. And that's looking at the numbers we're looking at now. The way to deal with this is, from what I said to the get-go, I would be willing to accept these government measures if they were transparent with the facts, and they were correct, proven to be correct, and they answered basic questions, such as what their threshold was for action. Not only do we not get any of that, but then they send mixed messages. Oh, you can keep the chocolate place open, but we might have to come into your house and take your kids. The World Health Organization still carrying water for China, as is the media. The media, for God's sakes, one of the things Trump did correctly was he touted hydrochloroquine. Many doctors seem to be showing that it's having some sort of success. I even saw a Democratic politician on Tucker last night give Trump credit for saving her life because she had COVID and took hydrochloroquine. Sorry about that. How much do you have to hate this country and hate this president to actually cheer for people to die and against a medication that might help? Am I saying hydrochloroquine is guaranteed to work? No, I don't know. But there are credible doctors prescribing it, saying that it's worked, and it's a drug that's been on the market for decades. But they want a sensational, oh, someone drank fish tank cleaner that had this in it, so therefore, that's nonsense. If I take too much Tylenol, I could die from that. That doesn't mean Tylenol is not an acceptable drug. You don't take medication if it's not prescribed, and you don't blame the medication if someone does. So the whole thing's just a mess. And look, are the Democrats way worse than Trump on this? Yes, of course. Are many of these governors, such my governor, Tom Wolf, way worse than Trump on this? Yes, of course. Does this mean I'm not going to vote for Trump? No. Look, I can't say I'll guarantee vote for Trump because I can never say that about anyone. Anything could happen from here to there. And I'm not going to be made a liar if, Trump has a grievous illness and can't run or something particular heinous comes. But as of right now, I'll be voting for Trump even though I'm massively disappointed. So, all right, that's just a little taste. But my video today, 2:30, it should be, as long as my wife's cool with it, that's around when I get off work. I'll be doing a live stream then, and we'll be going into details on a lot of these numbers, what I see is wrong. But I encourage you, go check out my past live streams. If you're one of these people watching, you probably already have. But everything I was saying has happened. They took more rights. They spent more money. We gave them a blank check. They said, don't question it or everyone will die. Their models were wrong. They'll claim that, their models are wrong because we saved the day. They'll never give any proof of it. That's exactly what's happening. Exactly. And all I said, remember, my initial stance was the government should have to answer these basic questions before we give away our rights, before we cheer for them to crush the economy. That was it. They didn't. And again, I'll leave you with this. Can our country survive COVID? Yes, of course. It always could have, even if it would have killed what they were saying. Can we survive the economic downturn? It'll affect way more people than COVID. It's going to be horrific. I have family members that are going through it right now. But eventually we'll get back. But you know what we can't survive? The precedent being set that we have to cheer for the destruction of the economy, cheer for the violation of our rights, anytime the government says, be afraid of what? A cold virus? That they blew out of proportion? So, all right. Hey, thanks everyone for listening. Again, I plan on doing a video at 2:30. I swear to you, it's just been, I've been so busy with work, which I'm grateful for. I really am. Because I know some people would love to be working and can't be. But I've been busy with it, and there's been all sorts of problems I'm having with YouTube, with internet connections. I don't know if it's COVID related. I assume that there is something to do with that. Being in rural Pennsylvania, it might be affecting our stuff. I've even noticed Netflix is down sometimes, so. Yeah, Tigger, I did see hydrochloroquine and zinc. Quinine, my buddy Preacher sent me a thing from a doctor that said quinine and zinc are also really effective. Quinine you find in Schweppes tonic water. I'm not going to recommend don't take health advice from me. I'm a big fat guy, so, but why isn't this stuff being covered more? It's like they're pushing this vaccine. More money to be made with that vaccine, right? God forbid people could take supplements. Pimp my podcast, okay? Yeah, I also have a podcast you should check out. I'm on Spotify, I'm on Podbean, and I'm on iTunes. I'll be putting more stuff up, my last 2 live streams today on my podcast. So if you don't like seeing my handsome face or you're driving or something like that, go to Spotify, check out Normal America with Rob Noor or iTunes. It's free. But yeah, check those out as well. So thank you to everyone who supports me. Thank you for everyone listening. 2:30 p.m. today, I will be doing a live stream. So maybe I'll do a good job trying to take comments. So if anyone disagrees with me or anything like that, it'll be a good time to do that. So, all right. Again, apologize that I've been busy and haven't put out much material. I'm trying to get back into it. I really am. But I think everyone understands it's a crazy time. So thank you so much, everyone. We'll talk to you 2:30 p.m. Eastern unless something changes. If I'm not there, I'm doing fine, WZ. If I'm not there, you know what the deal is. I'm either having internet problems or I'm having marital problems. So that's when I get off work, though. So, all right. Thank you so much, everyone. It is